Hi everyone, Dan Scott here, and in this video I want to bring into a summarization some of what I talked about in my last few videos concerning the one book of Revelation, where here we're going to address the so-called lake of fire, which is stated to be the second death. And on the screen you see here that the writer of Revelation chose to use the adjective deuteros and the noun thanatos, second death, where that which would come before a second would be a first. Where in Jude he didn't use the adjective deuteros, but the adverb duo, or twice. The adverb is in conjunction with the verb deadening away, where twice would be opposed to a once, not first, but once, twice. And what we'll see is that Jude is the one that harmonizes with all the rest of the writ of prophecy, where the book of Revelation is isolated and diversionary. And without going into a ton of detail, which I could, simply understand that death is primarily related to the flesh, where deadening away, the verb, involves a metaphysical process seen with the preposition apothenesko. A process away from something, which then the end is death. So deadening away, apothenesko, is a metaphysical separation related to the law of death, which one can be a slave to death or to life. And the determination between the dividing line between life and death is what we're going to talk more about in this video, concerning the judgment of the EONIAN fire. Now, EONIAN fire is found in conjunction with the twice deadening away here in Jude, which phrase EONIAN fire is not found in the book of Revelation one time, but 3 times in the New Testament. And if you do not know what an eon is, see my video series, Nothing is Forever. Link in the description. Now, simply, the EONIAN fire is the summary judgment of this present eon, where according to the timeline of the fire, the uplight of Luke 12:49 concerns the absent first watch time of Luke 12:38, which is eventide, Mark 13:35, where the EONIAN fire concerns the unnamed fourth, the hours from cock's voice into the morning. So conceptually, we see an increase in heat that begins from eventide all the way into the fourth watch time, the EONIAN summary fire of the present eon, prior to the morning of a new heavens and earth. Now note that the third watch time is likened to a scorchingness, which is near a curse. Not the curse, but near, where the fourth watch time is the curse. So the EONIAN fire of Jude verse 7 is the same curse of Matthew 25:41 according to the parable of Matthew 18:8. So we connect these dots. Twice deadening away, Jude 12, concerns the EONIAN fire. Jude 7 concerns the curse of Matthew 25:41, which parable concerns hands. Where in Matthew 25:41 we see the segregating of the right hand from the left name. And the EONIAN fire concerns the same EONIAN discipline, verse 46. So let's talk a little more about the curse. What is the curse? Well, it's the death into the eon of a new heavens and earth. And who is the one with the holding power of the death? Well, the diabolos. So that prepared for the left named is the death, which is a forfeiting of the throne of God at the right hand, which is exactly the context of what Jesus meant in Matthew chapter 20, verse 23, which we're going to come back to in a moment. Now next, consider the figure of the blast furnace of the fire, which context in the Old and New Testament concerning Sodom and Gomorrah connect the dots to the EONIAN blast furnace of the fire, which is not a lake but figured as the Gehenna of the unextinguishable fire concerning the final judgment of the left named, which all comes after the third watch time scorchingness. And Jesus used the Gehenna of the fire 12 times, which first occurrence here in Matthew shows the final liability of the Gehenna, according to the progression of the judgment by fire. And I could dedicate another video to the subject of Gehenna, but understand Gehenna was not a lake. but a valley named after the gorge of Hinnom, the sons of Hinnom, where Israel sacrificed their sons and daughters to false gods, to Molech. But what we need to perceive here is the context of the dividing line between the judgment of the blissful ones and the judgment of the cursed, the right hand as opposed to the left named. So the lake of fire in the one book of Revelation is diversionary from all of the writ of prophecy concerning the revelation of the watch times, also not mentioned in the book of Revelation. And not only is the lake of fire limited to only the book of Revelation, but the book of Revelation has no mention of EONIAN fire, no mention of Gehenna of the fire, no blast furnace of the fire, or no unextinguishable fire. So let's come back to Matthew chapter 20, where what's to be perceived here is that the request of the woman is backwards, which is seen in the first person singular, your left named, your regency. No, the cursed of the left named forfeit the regency. They forfeit Eonian life. Only the right hand makes up Christ's completion, his body, hence my right hand. Where the woman twisted it backwards. She said, your left named, your regency. And as for the regency, flesh and blood will not law accordingly allot the regency of God. And who are the sons of 100 years? Flesh and blood. This is the curse of the death, which we all at present in Adam possess. Once deadening away with the expectation of glory, bliss, as opposed to woe. In all of this profound revelation that God has offered to us is not found in the one book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is likened to a gigantic maze with one entrance, but there's no exit. It's an impossible maze, containing doctrine after doctrine, which are contrary or twistings of the Word of God. They're diversionary, and that's what this book does. It diverts us from the deepest understanding and knowledge of wisdom, that we can see such things as I've described in this video. So I pray and I hope that this has helped you to simplify the concept of just exactly what is the dividing line between true life, that is Eonian life, and the deadening away twice, as opposed to the once that we are presently in. We're in the once deadening away, and then the judgment. And the judgment will sift out all of the grain, which are the sons of the regency, where the darnel proceed into the downburning, into all according to the blast furnace of the Gehenna of the fire. This is the true revelation of what all of us in the outcalled have to perceive.